This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
A buried bulldozer. You'll have to find some interesting scientists to prove that. Cool, but most of the school kids, they just cross over the mud.
Hi, welcome to Comedy Parenting Radio. My name is Jerry Begley, and I'm the host of the show. In the studio today, we have Heidi Rose with us. Heidi, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And where do you live, Heidi?
I live in Amarillo, Texas.
Cool. And you lived in Colorado for some time, didn't you?
For quite some time. I grew up in Colorado, yes.
In what town did you live most recently in Colorado?
Marble, Colorado.
Marble, Colorado. We're going to talk about marble mudslides coming up in just a second.
Treesock Press sells the books that stay on your shelves. When you want books that your guests pick up and read and can't put down, make sure it's one of Treesock Press's comedy books. Get a copy of our new book, Dad, the Tooth Fairy Didn't Come, and your kids will want you to read it over and over and over until you pull what little hair you have left out. When you put your books out into the gutter, you'll feel complete guilt if it's a Treesock Press book. Get your Treesock Press book wherever lousy comedy books are sold. Treesock. It stays on your shelf.
Hi, welcome back to Comedy Parenting Radio. My name's Jerry. In the studio, we have Heidi with us and a live audience today. Let's give a round of applause for Heidi. Yeah, thanks for applauding for yourself there, Heidi. Anyway, so we're going to talk about marble mudslides. Are you talking about real mud?
No, it's ice cream.
Long, rocky road.
Of course it's real mud, yes.
Of course it's real mud.
But they do make a marble mudslide ice cream at the famous Redstone Inn because the marble mudslide is so famous.
So famous. So where do these mudslides occur? Can you explain a little bit?
They come down from Slate Creek and like to run over the road a lot.
The mudslides go across the road?
They go across the road. There's no bridge and it's a small creek until the mudslides come down.
And then how big do these mudslides get to be?
It can be from a small little drizzle of mud across the road and a few rocks to about 12-foot tall mud.
12 feet thick of mud?
Of mud, yes.
Across the road?
Across the road.
Is this a back road, like a Jeep road? Or
No, this is the main road going into Marble, so if you're on the other side of Marble, there is no way getting back to civilization.
You're saying there's the main road?
Yes. It goes
Are there any other roads?
No, there are no other
There are no rain modes?
There are no other main roads, except there is one small little road that crosses Slate Creek as well, and usually that one's covered up anyway.
With mud also?
Yes.
Wow, 12 feet thick.
12 feet thick.
12 feet thick. What causes these mudslides?
Cloud bursts up in the mountains, and heavy thunderstorms, usually in the afternoon.
I have a theory on this. Everything on the internet's now going to the clouds. You know, like all the information's going to the cloud. You store it on the cloud. Your pictures are on the cloud. And I think these clouds are getting so saturated that they can't handle it. So you have these mudslides, maybe, coming down?
You'll have to find some interesting scientists to prove that.
I know some really interesting scientists. You're listening to Comedy Parenting Radio. We'll be back in just a moment.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Okay, in the studio with Heidi here, we're talking marble mudslides. Heidi, these mudslides you say are 12 feet thick sometimes. How often do they happen? Like every 10 years, 20 years?
No, actually, they will happen several times a year, usually in the spring and fall. You'll get maybe 5 in the spring, maybe 3 in the fall, depending.
Why don't we hear about this on the news?
Because it's so normal, people don't really think about it.
It's normal to have 12 feet of mud go across the road.
Yes, it is.
And it blocks off the town.
Blocks off the town. They can't get...
How many people live in this town?
I don't know how much it is, but back when I lived here, it was about 96 around there.
You lived here in 96?
No, 96 people.
Oh, 96 people in
Not
the town.
that old.
Okay. So when the mudslides block off the road, it blocks off all services like fire, trucks, mail delivery, ice cream trucks, things like that can't get into town.
Right.
What about the school kids?
Well, that's an interesting story. See, I don't go to school, but most of the school kids, they just cross over the mud.
What do they wear, like mud shoes or do they even get across the road? I mean, you could have a note, dear teacher, I didn't make it to school yesterday. There was a mudslide.
Yeah, possibly. I'm sure that happens all the time. I used to work at a camp that was up in Marble, and I live on the other side of the mudslide, so it didn't really affect us going to town towards Carbondale. But to get to Marble, you had to cross the mudslide, and I worked at a camp in Marble. And
did you show up with dirty feet?
Oh, many times. We had a special way to get across the Slate Creek.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. How's that work?
There was a shortcut that we would take, and
I love those shortcuts.
Shortcuts,
yeah,
yes.
Man.
And the ravines, they would be about...
What do you mean ravines?
Oh, there's a ravine that cuts right through, usually a buried bulldozer and things like that.
Wait, what? What got buried?
A buried bulldozer.
What do you mean there's a buried bulldozer?
Like a guy parked his bulldozer there, and now it's buried.
Under the mud?
Under the mud, yes.
He didn't dig it out?
No.
Oh, for crying out loud.
So the shortcut, the guy who let us use
this is a shortcut into Marble?
Into Marble.
Into Marble,
yes.
okay. How many people do the shortcut every day? Every day, on an average day?
Me.
You're the only...
Me and my siblings, we would do it.
You're the only ones that know about the shortcut?
Just us, and maybe the guy who owns that property.
Okay,
there.
the guy owns the shortcut. Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead.
So, anyways, he had different ways to get across. At first, he had some bridge, but
He had a bridge over the shortcut. Over the ravine.
Over the ravine.
Over the ravine.
Every time a mudslide came down, which happened several times a year, it would take out every single bridge.
There goes the bridge down.
There goes the bridge down. So he actually did, which was my favorite, a zip line situation where you got on, and he had between two trees, and you got on this board that was rigged onto a pulley, and you pulled yourself across the ravine.
Is this public transportation in Marble? Is this how you do this kind of stuff around there? I mean, a lot of people have trolleys or buses. You have a zip line.
Mudslide zip line. Yes.
A mudslide zip line across the ravine.
Yes. Yeah. But the worst story I ever had of trying to get across there was I was trying to get to a ladies' retreat. Now, it's kind of a high-end, all
I
ladies,
could see how ladies would retreat high in the mountains and be surrounded by mud.
And I was trying to get over there. So
Wait, you said tea time?
Oh, tea time, yes. They have tea time up there, too.
Like mud tea time, or what is this?
No. It was supposed to be nice, and I was trying to get there.
You're talking high tea.
High tea.
Okay, high tea. On the other side of the mudslide.
On the other side of the mudslide. So I was trying to get there. So I played guitar, so I had a backpack, a guitar on my back, and my cowgirl boots in the other hand.
Naturally.
And my mud boots on.
I wear cowgirl boots to my high tees. But go ahead.
Well, got there, and there had just been a mudslide, and the mud was still kind of soupy in the bottom of the ravine. Well, there was no bridge because it had been taken out, of course.
Naturally.
And I had to get across. So I left my guitar up above and my boots, and I decided I was going to try getting down in there. Well, it was way too mushy. So I found a couple of aspen trees, and I kind of got them in there and tried to walk on those, but that didn't work too well.
You were trying to walk across trees.
I was trying to get across, yes. So I ended up sinking to my knees. And I got up to the other side and dropped off my backpack, and I said, oh, great, I'm across. But then I realized I'd left my other stuff, so that
You had to go back and get the guitar.
I had to go back and get the guitar.
Right.
So I went back, get the guitar, and I decided I was going to throw my boots across. Well, that didn't work out too well. I do not have a very good arm, and one landed right in the mud. So I ended up, finally did get across, but one landed in the mud and one landed in the bushes, so I spent about 15 minutes looking for that thing. And I came into Marble covered from head to toe in mud. And no one wanted to give me a ride up because I was pretty muddy.
Naturally, you look like a swamp monster. You're listening to Comedy Parenting Radio. We're talking about mudslides in Marble, Colorado. We'll be back in just a moment.
Saddle up. Gabriel's trumpet blast the more. Saddle up, you men.
This moment of uncontrollable laughter was made possible by a 32-year-old man with little to no coordination attempting to execute a simple cartwheel. His name is Sergeant Warner, but young James, our laughing friend here, simply calls him Dad. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Saddle up and ride.
Pan American 715. You haven't seen United 209 up there anywhere, have you? It's a big plane. It's one of those four-engine jobs. It's got United on the side. You can't miss it. Well, if you see him, would you tell him to call in? Yeah. 715, we're pretty jammed up here. I'm going to have to put you in the holding pattern. How's your visibility? Yeah, look off to your left about 3 miles over San Bernardino. Yeah, do you see all the planes? Yeah, just take a place anywhere there you can find some. We'll call you back as soon as we have an opening. No, don't call us. We'll call you. Okay, you guys on the ground. Who wants to go up?
Okay, we're back with Comedy Parenting. Heidi, so these mudslides come down several times a year. Sometimes they're 12 feet thick, and you've got zip lines across ravines to circumvent this stuff. The town is shut down when these mudslides... How long is the town shut down for?
Well, it depends on how much mud and if the guy who usually uses the loader is awake or not too far away.
What happens if he's on vacation?
They're stuck.
They're stuck in town. And people have actually been stuck in Marble, Colorado.
Been stuck in Marble.
So what do they get, a hotel or go to the grocery store or hang out at the post office?
There's no post office.
There's no post office.
No. And
hotels down Main Street or anything?
No hotels. No. There's some cabins you could rent.
But
you'd have to know the right people.
I see. You have to have connections for that, huh?
Yeah, right.
Okay, the shotgun cabins or something to that effect. Well, you've been listening to Comedy Parenting Radio with Heidi and Jerry here talking about the Marble mudslides. Heidi, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
And by the way, don't put away those rubber boots. You might need them when you leave.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're back with Comedy Parenting, and Jerry here in the studio with Marty. Murray. Hello. Hi, Comedy Parenting Radio, and we're back in the studio. Take 3. Action. Oh, for crying out loud.